All right, we are live. Let me just tweet it out for everybody. Good. Awesome. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. Let's just kind of jump into it here and just see how things look in the market. Hopefully everything's coming through okay. So the month so far, so we're down 9 points today, but it really didn't affect the monthly chart very much today. So just a little bit of a down move, but still green and kind of still working off the real body at least of the prior month's hammer. We're trying to work its way back up to the upper Bollinger Band, possibly to all-time highs. Weekly chart just got out of this consolidation zone, this 4-week consolidation zone, kind of pushed up a couple weeks ago. And last week we finished up with the green hammer. Right now, so far, Monday, September 16, 2019, we are kind of right in the middle of the range right here. Harami right inside week so far, and not very big move. Right, that 4-week range was this choppy mess here all through the cloud, right, on the daily chart. And what got us out of it was this big gap up here, right, and then finally we had this nice hammer. Try to get out of here, right? We had a little red kind of hammer right here out of the cloud, and then we had this green hammer right here to get us right out. So that was really nice, and then had a beautiful day last Wednesday, and then kind of like a choppy move, and then inside day here on the daily chart. And so today we had a narrow range day, so 1152. Narrowest range, yeah, definitely NR7 day. The last one was 1082 back here in August 21st. So definitely an NR7 day. Off of an inside day, it actually looks very familiar from back here, right? We had a inside day, and then a narrow range day. Not NR7, but still narrow range, and very similar. Look what happened after that. We had from this contraction led to expansion, right? So volatility is still pretty high, and so what that is doing is possibly leading up to a move. And what do we got going on this week? We've got the Fed on Wednesday, right? And we got quadruple wishing on Friday. So that I'm imagining the Fed is going to probably have some more market movement behind it, right? As we have this high volatility kind of going on right now. So just a quick look here. This is a 15-minute chart, but the daily chart right here, you can see we are above. This is our kind of macro geometric chart here, where we can see the macro pitchfork. We have this channel that worked all the way since the early 2018, and we're kind of up there. Last time we tested the top of this channel, we came down, had the pitchfork midpoint line, 1, 2, 3, bottom right here on the pitchfork median line, and kind of worked up over this resistance zone and are kind of working our way back up here. So a little bit of a down move here. Like I said, if it did want to push, it could push very similarly to here, but and it might retest this, the pitchfork median line. We'll see, but it's not that far away from all-time highs. So if they really wanted to, they could push it. So we'll see. Wednesday should be very interesting. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some chop tomorrow. So let's take a look. Here's the price action so far from today. Okay, so choppy day, right? But there's a couple moves, right? I mean, we gapped down, right, which is kind of the first time we've seen that in a while. It looks like it tried to get into that gap right there, right? Try to fade right here. There's the prior day's low, right? Try to get up there, couldn't do it. You had a shooting star right here, a little bit of chop, but then we had an upper shadow. All these upper shadows right here at this S1 level was key today, right? I mean, like, it just showed it couldn't get above it. So again, seeing this as a possible short here is one to be patient for, but definitely a worth the move, right? So I mean, if you just kind of look at the options on those, we could take a look at that real quick. If we just went to the 29.95s at from 1025, we could just look at that. Today was the 16th, and so the 29.95s. So if we look at that at the 1025 line, you can just kind of see what they did here on the SPX. And those are the puts. So 1025 was this bar right here. So if we got in here, when we saw that it was just rejecting that line, just kind of were patient. It's an entry there from about $2, for a big push up to $4 right off of that move, just so you could see how that happens, right? And then it was another big push here from $2 to $6. So that's why the SPX is so interesting, right, and fun to watch, because even on a choppy day, you can get kind of these explosive moves, right? And so again, it came back up to these levels, right? And what do we see? We see an upper shadow, right? Not quite the same shooting stars here, but a green one, right? And then they had one more move off of that, and that was a finally a test of these levels right here. Couldn't get much farther than that. Found some support down here. Couldn't even get to the S3, but kind of held there. So you can see what how these can be profitable, right, and successful anyway. So that's the SPX today. So good stuff. So today, pretty much just wanted to talk about another cool setup that we like to do, that off the 15 orb. So LYFT today. Let's take a look at LYFT and see what it did today. So LYFT was interesting, right? Had a huge move up today, and let's just kind of take a look at the daily chart here again. Let me fix this. So I don't know. It always goes back to this, but if I go to studies. Edit studies, edit the volume profile. We'll set on expansion to no, and we'll set this down to 10. Okay, so we have that. There we go. Okay, so with LYFT, right? I mean, we had an upgrade today, and that kind of put it on the 15 orb watch list, right? And so when we have our 15 orb watch list, what we do is we look through those and we look for nice activity around the 15 orb high, which is the opening range bar, right? To see if we can get a push on that. So if we look here and kind of see what we did, I mean, basically we just had, it wasn't like a huge move, it wasn't a gap and go type situation, but we did, have an opportunity to push above Friday's high and Thursday's high, right? And so to give it possible, push to at least test the high, right, of the 911 high there. So let's kind of take a look here on the 15-minute chart and see what happened. So today you can see it was kind of a big deal, right? So we had this here. Okay, so we gapped up and we pushed, right? So there's your 15 orb high, and look what we did. We got over these highs here, and then we have a target of possibly up here. And so what we could do is just kind of draw those lines in, and so we have this code that we use. Let's see, so we call it orbit here. And that should be okay. Let me just double check. Show today only, no extension, mid. Okay, that should be good. All right, so we have that. That defines that level of that line there. So you can see that's the entry idea right there, right? So we kind of pushed up, right? And we broke through that 15 orb high, and that is the entry idea. And so we go there, and we just then continue to trail, right, until we get there. So it's a nice move. It was a nice push off of here. We raise our stops. We get up to this 48.69 from 48.02, and a 69-cent move, on that 15 orb up. And so just to kind of show you what that looks like with the options, right? So what we would do is we'd look at possibly in the money, possibly the 48s. I would probably look at the 48s there. And so you look to jump in the options once that 15 orb breaks, right? And we'll take a look at some clues on the lower time frame that shows why that might happen, right? Might be successful. So .LYFT, so 190920. We look at the calls. Let's look at the 48. So this will show you on the 15-minute chart what the options did. Okay, so even if you miss this whole first part of the 15 minutes, you can still enter here, right, off of this break point, right? You can see this is basically identical. So these went from $1.24. They had a nice push up and went all the way up to $1.80, right? And then you basically probably we would have got stopped out here somewhere between $1.80 to $1.65 if we were going bar by bar on these. So it's just a really nice move, and you can even see on the option chart too, a nice little cloud break as well that gave that move to the upside. So very, very nice stuff, very, very easy strategy to do, and just a powerful move there to capitalize on a momentum break of this. So let's take a look at the shorter time frames and see exactly, kind of what was going on underneath the hood to see what kind of could have gotten things going a little bit. So I want to show you here, if we just go to the 3-minute chart, kind of zoom in a little bit on this. Okay, so if we look here, what we could see is in the first 3 minutes, basically, right? So the first 5 bars would be your 15 orb right here. And so what I really, really like is that we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that we're leading up to this point? Is what we could do is we could look at volume and look at how the volume is increasing, right? So we had a nice gap up today, right? So we pushed over. Might be having a performance. There we go. Oh, sorry. So we pushed over some of these pre-market levels. Sorry. And then these are key levels too. These are key breakout levels too that we look at, in our group. We look at we call it the pre-market box, right? So if we can get through that, gives you another momentum push. And what I really like about what happened here is after we got out of these levels, right? Look at the volume. You can see these blue bars down here. These are your volume bars. What happened is we had these 2 bars right here, and then when we continued to push to get to the 15 orb high, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 3 times 5 is 15. The volume continued to increase, and on the next push bar here, we got even more volume on that. A little less volume here on this bar, but then the push then continued. So I liked how we had increasing volume on this as well. And then look, they tried to hold it right here with this volume right here, and they just couldn't do it, and then the volume kind of drifted off. But this is very, very powerful, right? Because we could see that big volume started to push it up, and less volume just kind of drifted down. So LYFT is something to keep on the radar over the next couple of days. It could be a 30 orb move tomorrow. That's where we just switch from the 15-minute time frame to the 30 to look for more setups that could see those that could trigger those moves. And so you can even see here on the 5-minute chart. Again, the first 5-minute bar here gave a nice push here right to the top of that pre-market level, and then gave that push out. So just a very, very powerful move, and a good strategy to use, especially on stocks that are. It was recently, kind of got hot recently, right, with the California governor saying that LYFT was going to, they weren't going to be. I don't know. They were being more accommodating to the ride-sharing people, and so. So that anyway, that gave it a big boost, and Uber got a boost too. So it already started to get kind of interesting, right? And then the upgrade today just kind of kept those things interesting, right? As it tried to get back to those highs. So we'll see if that continues to find some buying, some buy the dip opportunities with LYFT. But I love it when these things are in the news recently, right? With some big volume coming in, then you get an upgrade the next day. It's definitely something to kind of hone in on those 15 orbs. So. Something to look at there. So good stuff. Well, I hope you guys found that helpful. At this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window. We'll get through as many as we can. Try to wrap up by 10:30 or so, so we can all get a good night's sleep and have an awesome trading day tomorrow. So good stuff. Appreciate everybody. Cool one. What's going on? Good to see you. Wendy, good morning. Early bird, you're one of the first posters. Good to see you. Paul, what's going on? Hey now. Heather, good evening. Cool one. Yeah, let's check Beat at Amazon. Let's take a look. So Beats has been pretty popular recently, so let's take a look. So Beat. Oh yeah, that is looking pretty good. I really liked it. I think we must have talked about it the other day, because I do have this trend line on here, so really, really nice big trend line. And this should have been on my radar kind of going into today, because I love how it closed right here over all these minor pivots. Very, very strong close over this. So I would have considered a swing on this, a potential swing on this. Very, very nice. And I like this. It's a thin cloud. Normally I like a cloud as a target, but if it could continue and get a strong push over this cloud, this thing could really move possibly up to this, maybe 49, 50 level. Could be really, really interesting. I'm going to add this to my watch list down here. Really, really good stuff. I like that. In fact, I'm going to even add it to the game plan. That's a really good one. Cool one. Let's take a look. So, gosh, tomorrow, Tuesday. Okay, so Beat is looking really good. Nice one on that one. So we'll take an eye on that. Does it have options? It's got the monthly option. That's the only thing I don't like about some of these stocks, is that they've got these great setups, and then just not a lot of open interest on it. So it really makes it really, really tough with the options. It could still work, but it's just you don't have that driving option force behind it either. So that's also something to consider. So definitely interesting. I really like it. I do like the setup right there. Just be careful of this cloud resistance. Okay, good. And then Amazon. Let's take a look. We're going to move out some of these levels, some of the key levels that we give to subscribers every market night. And so let's take a look here. So Amazon is struggling, right? So we have this, obviously these recent, huge highs up here and everything, of course, right? And then this big push down, like everything else. And then this one's been struggling more than others to get a good reversal, right? And so, it hasn't really been putting any clear, clear pivots. Honestly, I want to see this thing get out of this macro trend line right here, which I like how it corresponds right with the cloud. So if we could get above here and we get some confirmation, right, then Amazon might start to work and start to get into like that gap up there. But as far as we can see right now, it still hasn't gotten out of this kind of choppy consolidation range. So something to think about with Amazon. Enjoy Life Apparel. What's happening? Good evening. SMDC4S, defense, nice. So obviously any of the defensive sector stocks, and if you're watching a game, but any defensive sector stocks have been really strong thanks to the impending war with Iran. So it's starting to look interesting. So for instance, like Raytheon here, big push off of yesterday, a little bit of a red, kind of spitting top-ish hanging man here off of this bump and run level. So just kind of be aware of this, for a potential push down if it gets under today's lows. And then we have General Dynamics. This was an idea from today, from the game plan, so it did give a nice push up there. Obviously, Boeing, UTX has been pretty bullish as well. Just kind of following these. So very, very interesting stuff on those. Great tweets and trades on those SMDC4S. Harvey, what's going on? Good to see you. SDC4S, Google, Facebook, Netflix, they all look like they could run tomorrow. So let's take a look. So Google, again, I really don't mess with Google anymore, but we still take a look at it. So we have this high right here. There's kind of the trend. Yeah, I mean, the trend is still up on it until proven otherwise. So I like Google. Netflix is interesting. It could run. It depends, what type of time frame we're looking at. But on the here, a lot of folks have been talking about Netflix, and really, honestly, it has to close above today's highs in order, with a nice, bullish bar for me to get really kind of interested in it. But good stuff there. And then Facebook would be interesting. It is really, really kind of complex right now in terms of, where it is. It's just been really chopping around for a couple weeks. We have this upward trend line right here that it is below, but we have a minor pivot down here. So I mean, if it did close below the cloud, it could get a little bit dicey. I think we have an open gap down there too. So just something to keep in mind on that. MTNVR, what's going on? UAL short term. Let's take a look. UAL. Ooh. It's very, very interesting. So not quite a red day today, but still a down day. But let's take a look and just kind of look at our trend lines here. Yeah, so one more close below today's low, especially if we had a red close on that could give you a shot at least at the bottom of the cloud, and possibly a shot at some of these gaps below. So there's definitely some bearish kind of activity going on with that one. Sharif, what's going on? AMD, good to see you. Let's take a look. Guys, AMD has been in this this tight zone for a very, very long time. So we had this big week right here, remember, after earnings and all that stuff, right? Huge move. It was great. It was fun. We made money on it. It was great. And then it just was like, okay, let's calm down a little bit. We had an inside week here, a triple inside week on AMD. It looked like we would have a quadruple inside week, right? It tried to take it up and couldn't. Came back inside, gave you Harami. Tried to take it down last week and couldn't get down. And now it's still, look how tight this is. Just as, if you just go with the real bodies, I mean, this thing is so tight right now. So, it's really, really difficult to gauge. I mean, look at in the month. This shows how tight it is. I mean, look at the doji month right here. So, I mean, really with this, we're going to have to either wait for some news or a breakout, or see something here. It can consolidate for a while. AMD is known to do that. I mean, it can do it. It's done it back here, month, right? Month, real tight ranges. And then eventually, it gives a big move, over some time. Just be careful with it. I did see some insider transactions go on, like the CEO and a couple other executives had sold recently. So I don't know if that means anything, but it's just kind of interesting to kind of take note of. So right now, I'm kind of hands off of it until we can get, a little more clarity on the setup. Maybe if it, could give us a new low or something like that, and then give us a nice trend line, and then kind of work its way back up would be great. But really, really complex right now. Dennis, what's happening? My opinion, would REITs take a hit today? No political exposure. Why would REITs take a hit today? No political exposure. Honestly, it just could be flow. I mean, there might be some, maybe rate Fed type things involved, right? If like rates go down, I don't know. You'd think it would help, like some of the REITs, but it just might be some sector rotation. Is basically the best opinion I can have. If you gave me some examples, you'd have some tickers to kind of take a look at. We could look at the technicals of it and just kind of see. But things like rotate in and out. A lot of times too. So sometimes in sector and out of sector that could affect it. But yeah, like SKT. Let's take a look. Yeah, so like the Sanger outlet factories. Yeah, I mean, they haven't gotten hit like too bad. I mean, and it's actually looking really, really strong. The key here is you had this really, really big trend line, right, on Tanger outlets, and so you had this really, really macro one right here, and I love the minor pivot that it made. But at this point, we just kind of need to wait, right? It's just a little extended, right? You can even look at the RSI right here, just as is under, is oversold here and overbought here, and then so we have this minor pivot that we still need to get over. And so if we can hold the cloud and get above this, and give us a nice close above it, we might see some strength back in it. But right now, it's just kind of like that type of thing. So. But really, in all honesty, it's been downtrending for a very, very long time, right? I mean, all the way since December, right? So, and even after the reversal, right? Even after the kind of Christmas reversal and all that stuff, it just continued its way down, right? So that's just kind of something to just keep in mind. So the trend is still down. It did try to break out of this trend, right? And it just hasn't been able to do that yet. So, but it did define a new minor pivot, which could create a new uptrend. So I think it's definitely worth watching. So we'll see what happens with that. NetFry, what's going on? KO, let's take a look. I didn't get an email from Shirley today. Maybe she got a Gmail and she's logging in. That'd be cool. KO. All right, so KO has been a little bit KO complex. So let's take a look here. So we did have this recent trend line up. Right, we had kind of a minor pivot here, but we had some strong closes above it, and then now it defined this new minor pivot. We still haven't been get below it, so it hasn't really given any clear direction either way. So right now, I mean, technically the trend is down, right, because it's starting to break out. It just hasn't confirmed yet, right? So it's, I mean, we're kind of in this zone. It's sort of like this big triangle. So something to keep an eye on with this. So I mean, it's holding its prior 15-orb high from earnings, so that's something good. It did have this nice move here after earnings, right, with this nice trend line, right, confirmation up, a nice move up. So that was nice. But at this point, we just have to kind of see, how it handles this kind of zone right in here, and then it might start to define something. So good stuff. Manoj, how's it going? Yeah, let's take a look. So Starbucks. Yeah, so I can't wait to buy the drip on this thing. So it just has been really annoying, right? Like, if we're trying to swing it, from the last earnings right area. And in fact, a couple of these drops are enough to, especially on some volume, are enough to get some folks out, right? And so, so we'll see. We'll see how much more it has to go. We'll continue to monitor this on the its downward trend line here to see if it gets anywhere close. But until it can continue to drop, right, and give us maybe a new fresh pivot, it might come down and test some of these gaps down here. We had a prior 15-orb kind of level down here as well. So it's definitely worth watching. I do think it's on, on a track. It probably wants to hit 100 at some point, maybe even higher, because it had such a momentous run up. But at this point, it had a big earnings run. They kind of guided lower, somewhere in here. It tried to hold, it held the cloud a little bit. Now it's back in the cloud. So we just kind of have to keep an eye on it at this point. So, but I do think it's going to set up eventually for another run back up, but it might be a couple weeks. So good. FedEx. Oh yeah, FedEx with some earnings coming up. Earnings coming up tomorrow after the close. So great run up right here. We'll see what kind of candle we get tomorrow into earnings. It's setting up for a potential reversal, right? It's had a nice run up, come up to some resistance right here, but anything can happen with earnings. So we'll see if it gives us a boost at all. Maybe if it can gap up here or even gap up here, right? We might get a gap and go on. It could be really, really interesting. So, and kind of change the game a little bit. So again, no real opinion going into earnings. We'll have to wait to see how it does afterward. Of course, we'll look at the 15 orb to trade afterwards, just like we did with LYFT, right? So we'll take a look at that too. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I have here. It does have kind of like this 2B reversal that it already kind of triggered on it, right? So that is neat. But other than that, we'll just have to kind of see where it goes. Netflix, again, we kind of chatted a lot about that a little bit earlier. Again, really the key with Netflix is a close above today's high. If we can close above today's high, then we might make it stab to a little run up to the cloud. So definitely keeping an eye on it, for sure. And it's a go-to list item. Dimitri, what's happening? Beyond and Shop, let's take a look. So BYND. So Beyond is nice, guys. So I almost did a swing on this on Friday, and really honestly I didn't see it, but we did have actually a close above this minor pivot this day. It didn't look like it, to the eye, but then we had a nice 2-day swing up. At this point, it's kind of pretty close to my target. Like my original target was 160 when I was looking at swinging this, and it's pretty much there because we have this cloud. Now, could it continue to work its way up here? Yes, you have a couple pivots here, some resistance might test that, which corresponds with the cloud too. But a nice move here, right on the 912s. If we just went to this week's 160s, it was just a sweet move. Just basically, I think options pretty much doubled on those, so that would have been nice. So, but I would just be careful with it right now. Shop, on the other hand, Shop with the drop. It is down after hours, so let's just take a look and see how down it is right now. Okay, so it's gotten beat up a little bit, right? So this was today's price action. Really, really choppy on choppy, and then after hours they what's the exact news that they say? So it's that Shopify plans to sell 1.9 million subordinate voting shares, right? So it drops 4% on the selling news. So just like that, down 20 points, right? And then so that's kind of consolidating right here. It's basically down 15ish or so, something like that, pretty close to 20. So yeah, it's 15ish. But anyway, so there you go. So there's Shop. So that'll be a potential 15 orb trade for tomorrow. So that looks good for potential there. Let me actually add that to the list. Okay. So yeah. So but if it does get weak, we could see more down move on it. I think there's a gap to fill below as well. So definitely something to keep an eye on. There. Good. Good. Paul, NAV. Let's take a look. Ooh, NAV. Wow. Nice move on this one. I would have looked at here. There's your level. There's this minor pivot, close above it, nice entry, right? Nice move. So it got to the cloud, so that's pretty much target for me. So at this point, we would see here to here to here. Minor pivoting right now, so we'll look for maybe a close below that for maybe a move back. Looks like it probably wants to chop for a little bit, so see how it did that for a while here before it finally moved. And then you had nice earnings, kind of moved its way up. Oh, that's really great. Even after earnings, what a great place to swing after that. Perfect setup after earnings. You gotta love it. Nice. Moo Cow of America, what's happening? Let's take a look. Yeah, so we got Boeing. So Boeing, I tweeted earlier, it's kind of looking almost bull flaggish right here, right? So we've got kind of this going on a little bit. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it has to kind of test maybe a couple levels, but I'm liking it for some potential move. We've got let's see, this nice gap right here. So there is a gap here at 390.95. So potential bull flag breakout. We're holding trend still. Maybe that's a potential target that we can look at. We see kind of this tight little cup and handle pattern, which is the bull flag itself is like the handle, right? Up, down, right? Type stuff. So we'll see if we can get over these levels. If it does, it could start moving again. It was strong last week, right? It had a couple really big moves here and here. Really incredible days. Big moves on Boeing. So those are always fun. Apple with the inside day. Whew, that's a lot. There's a lot of information there. Okay, Apple with the inside day, but big gap above, and you got a gap below too. So basically, this inside day is really important, right? If it breaks to the upside, we can work it possibly on this gap fill here. If we break to the downside, we got this gap fill here, right? It's all one day before Fed too to see which way it goes. So Fed might make it move one way or the other. So that'll be interesting to see, of course. Cost. So I'm hoping cost puts in, you can see I have an alert on here. I'm hoping cost puts in a fresh low, so we can get draw a fresh trend line on this thing, because right now the trend line is really tight, right? It makes it really difficult. I mean, we could see something. What I would love to see is, because that's so tight right there, it just doesn't make sense to have a 2-bar trend line, right? The longer the trend lines, the better, right? So what I'd like to see is a fresh low, so we could draw a fresh trend line, and then possibly give us a minor pivot and then a breakout, so we could get an earnings run on that, into earnings next month, like early next month. So, so we could definitely keep an eye on Costco, Goldman Sachs. So this thing is setting up actually nicely. I really kind of like this. So create joints. No, that's fine. Actually, I don't need these levels on here. Let's take those off. Okay. So big move up. Slight move down, right? Might be working on a cup and handle right here, but it did give a minor pivot today. If we close below that tomorrow, we might see a little gap fill down here, another gap fill down here, possibly tested the cloud. So, so that is a possibility. So I'm liking Goldman for a potential short if it closes below that tomorrow. Caterpillar also very similar to Boeing, right? A lot of these kind of like these cups right here that haven't really been breaking out yet. So Caterpillar had this nice move right here. This is kind of the entry day, right? And then gave us a nice run up. Now, we have an inside day on Caterpillar. We had an inside day here. It's kind of consolidating a little bit right after this momentous run up. So we'll see how it handles. This is kind of equivalent to a bump and run, right? So here's the kind of original run right here. Let's see how it might chop until it gets to this trend line. It might even come back to it, hold some cloud right here, and then we'll kind of just see, how it handles there. And UNH, good ones. You're getting lots of nice Dow stocks in there. I like it. I think actually those are all Dow stocks, except for Costco. Yeah, nice. And then UNH. UNH, it's holding this trend line right here. Inside day today, it's getting there. It just needs like a strong green bar instead of all these upper shadows, right? Upper shadow, upper shadow, upper shadow, upper shadow, upper shadow, upper shadow. It needs like a hammer or something, right, over here. Then maybe it can work its way back up to kind of this cloud area. Maybe 245 is a possibility on it. So good. Sharif, big drop after hours due to new share offer. That's right. So it'll be 15 orbish, something to look at tomorrow. So for sure. So we'll look. Wendy, SQ. Let's take a look. So SQ is getting there. So it's gotten a little bullish here, right? Jack Dorsey's talking about, making like a new Robinhood for it or something like that. I don't know why everybody's trying to get into this free trading brokerage space. Oh, I know why. Because the HTF, the high frequency trading companies, right, profit big time off of it, and so would Square. So if they could do it, it would be good. Unfortunately, it's at the expense of some traders, but not those who have a good system, right? So anyway. So let's take a look here. So so nice move today. Formed a minor pivot here off of this longer term trend line. So we'll look and see how it handles this. If it closes above it, we might see a little move up. Possibly a shot at the cloud here. So I definitely have an eye on Square. I'm going to put an alert on it here and make sure it's on my watch list too. It should be. If it's not, add it there. Yeah, it was already on it. So it's getting there. It's getting close. Getting close. Okay, good. And Starbucks. We just looked at Starbucks, but again, we'll look at it from another angle. Again, it's kind of coming down, still trending down. But let's take a look at it from another angle here. Let's look at the daily chart. I'm going to let's kind of clear some of that off here. So, I mean, generally, right, we have this. Okay, kind of broke through those minor pivots. Right, the trend is still down. Don't know if we could see. We could get a little funky with this and just put a fib arc in it somewhere. Low to high. Just kind of see. I mean, a couple key levels tested here, so that's good. I mean, so it might work its way down here, right? For maybe till like October timeframe, a couple weeks, and then start to work its way back up. So just a little something to keep an eye on. So again, it's all about just kind of tracking this trend line and seeing where it leads to. So that would be interesting. Prayer Kid, what's happening? Good to see you. Been good to see you active on Twitter and posting some great trades. Love it. SMDC4S Seinfeld effect. Is what you were? Is that your thing on Netflix? Yeah, it could. I don't know. I think they're reaching right now. It's like. How many people are going to binge watch Seinfeld? Haven't we seen all those episodes before? I don't know. We'll see. But it could get something out of it. I mean, for sure it could. But it needs some help. But that's neat. I think George is an architect. Sumit, what's happening? Adobe. Oh, yeah, great one on Adobe. We got earnings coming up this week. This thing is setting up so well, right? So we have this nice, decently at least, right? So we have this nice downtrend right here. And decent minor pivot right here. We closed above it today. So I love it for a potential move. We have cloud, though, and we have earnings. Earnings tomorrow after the close, just like FedEx. So again, I can't really say one way or another what this thing's going to do with earnings, right? Anything can happen. This thing has consolidated for a very long time. It finally started to move a little bit, came down a bit, like lower shadow, lower shadow, lower shadow. Lower shadow was a strong bar today. So it seems to be defending these levels really well, but only earnings, right, can really say for sure whether it could push through this cloud or whether it's going to like test some of these lower levels or just do nothing, right? But now that we have all those bases covered, obviously it's hard to say with earnings. We'll figure it out after earnings, right? So good stuff. Nice. Regini, how's it going? UNH we just took a look at, but it always helps to take a look at it from another perspective. Let's see. So we have here, yes, UNH again, very, very similar. It looks like it's just kind of holding this trend line for now. So let's see if it can eventually maybe close inside day, maybe a little pop up and give us a close above there, and then for a little potential swing long. So that's good. PLNT. Very, very nice. Yeah, this thing is really looking good. Let's take a look here real quick. Nice low here. We got to adjust this. There. Okay. So the trend is still down. It does look falling wedge-ish, right? there, right? It's possible ending diagonal. Needs to get out of this trend line though, right? And then if I don't put an alert on that, it does look interesting. Okay, just got to take a look. Then we'll see if we get a minor pivot and then a move up. Okay, and then AbbVie. AbbVie. Gosh, this thing is really complex, wasn't it? Big move down, sort of had that falling wedge type thing. Tried here, tried here, tried here, right? A lot of upper shadows, minor pivot. Got here, still couldn't close above the minor pivot. Finally did it here, possible swing low, and then gapped up, right, into the cloud, but still not bad, right? I mean, how does AbbVie trade? Does it have just monthly options? I've never really, oh, okay, cool. So if we look like, whoa, if we look last here, this is, let's just say, you know, we looked at like this week's like 72s or something. I just want to see what that looked like from 9/11. So .AbbVie, that was a good place to swing. Calls, just look at the 72s, just see what those did. Yep. So that would have been good. 15 cents to 41 cents. We would have taken it, right? So AbbVie. Good. So we'll see how it does. It's kind of holding right here, right now, and then a kind of a test of these levels here, and then we'll see how that kind of moves. Very, very good. Nice, Virginia. Thank you. Yeah, I know. Oops. Nice one to be. A few people I know had puts on it, so I was like, nice job. Very, very nice. As for CMI, been hot with cat, so I can see nav going also. Cool. Good. That's good. Nice for Paul. Prayer Kid. Looking to pop on FedEx to 176.25, minus 1 with the upper target, and 179 at the end of the week, and early next week. Very, very nice. Mike, what's happening? Peace, my friend. Nephri, my pleasure. David, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Baba, let's take a look. Baba. You know what I need to do is, like, a lot of these, I'm going to put show on here. Like, I don't know why. I think that's maybe how I got surely booted, because I never clicked like show, and like it just made it look like it was spamming or something like that. But anyway, hopefully everything's all right. That so Bob has been really interesting. We had a little swing on this one back in here, had a nice gap up, at least the swing idea, and then it continued. Right, so now we're just kind of chopping in here, but we have this kind of really interesting kind of 1, 2, 3. So that is what, 3 rising valleys, right? So right here's valley 1, valley 2, valley 3. Typically bullish, right? We've done a video on this before. So really it's got to get over this levels, right? This gap and go through this 179.88. So over 180, we could see a little bit of push, a little bit of a push up. So yeah, so very, very bullish type situation going on right now. So that's nice. Very good. So look for a pop on Apple, upper target 200, 221, major upper target 223, yes, all-time highs, and then 224, at which point we will get a pullback. Nice. Dustin Norton, well, WLL. Let's take a look. Thanks for tuning in. Ooh, yeah. Big move today. I like that. Nice. That's a breakout move today. It needed it, too. It was struggling, right? Had a big gap down on earnings. Move here, right there, right? It's been trying to work. That was just beautiful, right? No reason to be out of this trade, honestly, on a swing. We probably would have entered somewhere here. The $7.42, and just kind of held through here, right? The lows here were, 731, so down 10 cents, but and then this pop-up was just beautiful. So ideally, it'll get a little bit of follow-through on that. So a lot of oil stuff is looking pretty strong right now. So it's a little bit of cloud to get through, but if it could do that, you can see a gap fill, and then maybe it'll start to work its way up even farther. So that'd be nice. Oxy, let's take a look. Not as nice as the last one. I like the candle on the last one. I don't like the topping tail on this one, but nice volume, and it still finished green. So that's something to take a look at too. I mean, this one was basically from here to here to here. Yeah, nice possible entry there for a little move. But today just looks like some people just sold that gap. Silver. Goodness gracious, we had an awesome swing on this in our group, and I sold mine a little bit early, right? Just on, I think, one of these gap ups here, and then some folks held it and continued all the way up into the 17s, and then sold. I think they were this pullback here they sold. I think we caught it like kind of going up here, a little pullback. Still continued up to 1835, and that was about it for silver. So here's your trend line. There's your move. Here's your minor pivot, right? There's kind of your entry, little sideways movement, measured move down. Now, with volatility kicking back in again today, right? A little bit of a safety move again, inside day. We'll see if it can kind of hold that that mid Bollinger Band, although it did put a topping, an upper shadow on it. So something to keep an eye on. Dimitri, my pleasure, my friend. Manoj, my pleasure. Paul, thank you. Heather, thank you. Mike, finally an oil stock. Yeah, lots of oil stocks coming up here. Experience and thoughts, what's happening? Good to see you. Mike, marked prayer kid, very nice. Experience and thoughts, GLD, yeah. Let's take a look. Yep, trying just needs a little green close over these. I'd like to see like a green bar here, and then maybe it can kind of work its way up to the gap here. So that could work. Daniel, awesome, thank you, my friend, appreciate it. Experience and thoughts, MDB, yes, good one to keep an eye on. Eventually this thing will get moving again. Oh, yeah, I tell you, you always find the good ones. Let's see, so this one here, low, there, yes. So this is a good time, good mark here for MDB. I like it. It's going on the list. I like it. Okay, so nice move here. A close over today's high. Maybe it'll give us a potential swing out on Wednesday. But I like this move here. Very, very nice. Good. Excellent. Thank you. Mike, VAL. Nice little cup handle possible forming here. Another Valaris type move. So here, cup E. A little cup. Yeah. Handle possibly. And then up. All right, so we'll just keep an eye on this one. How far back is this thing? Yeah, big down move there. Down, there, pivot, close above. Yeah, a little close. Today's could get bullish. It could start to work on it. Maybe possible move here is $9-10, something like that. So it could get there. Natalie, hey, welcome. Yeah, thank you. And make sure you hopefully you checked your email. I sent you an email and all that stuff with all the login information and all that stuff. So be sure. I haven't seen you yet in the private Twitter, so make sure you look at that. But thank you. I appreciate you joining. Yeah, let's take a look at CGC. So we looked at this in the live stream this morning. Really, really nice move. One of our members had swung this here, from the other day, and gave a really good move. I think he jumped in. I think this day here, but really, really nice moves there. This was a good day to enter right here for a nice move up. Now it's just kind of pulling back a little bit, but here's your minor pivot here. See, we talked about this today. I had suggested, or at least told what I would have done, which was, maybe just keep stops a little tight based on the way it found resistance right here, right? Because here was this recent pivot high, right? And it started to put an upper shadow on that. If it could close there, it would have been good. If not, be careful, because it did do that. So we had an upper shadow right there off of this prior level, right? So we just have to be careful with that. And now it kind of pulled in a little bit. We might see some consolidation or a move back down. Okay, and then Diz. How's that? Does that make sense? Let me clear that out a little bit there. So Disney's been a little bit messy. We've had this, this epic move up. Here's your down move. There's your true trend line right here. So really, what we're in is this kind of, it's basically like a diamond pattern right now. Ignoring the outlier, right? Okay, so what we really need to do is we need to get above this level. We need to close above it. Right now it's getting a little bit weak. It looks like it could be dropping down a little bit. So a push actually below today's low could kind of come back and test these levels. What we want is to see some strength, maybe a nice close over this 140 level, and then we'd look to kind of swing it again. But right now I'm kind of hands off at Disney until I can get a clear setup on it, right? So that's just something to keep an eye on with that. And then T. Ooh, nice one. Yeah, we had Verizon short today. That was a nice one over the weekend, and T seemed to set up very similarly. Let's take a look. So we had this there. So yeah, honestly, T with a push under, if we close tomorrow under today's lows, that could be a nice move, depending how bad it is. Right? If it's a nice little red, little kind of like something like this below this level, that would be a good short. We might fill that gap and kind of test some of these levels. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. So good. Anyway, thank you, Natalie. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your support. And it's a great group, awesome traders, and great ideas and all that stuff. Great education. So thank you. Mike, cool. Yep, no cloud on iPhone. Yeah, I know. You can put the cloud levels on there, but it's really difficult to translate. So anyway, good stuff. All right, well, good. Yeah, definitely check your email. If you didn't get it, just send me an email, john@positive-trends.com. Oh, it looks like Shirley had just emailed a watch list here. So let me look at a couple of these real quick. So we've got Boot, CHK, XOP, US. Guess what? She likes oils. That's awesome. All right, Shirley, I'm not going to go through all the oil ones, but we'll take a look at a few of them real quick. Dustin BP, yeah. So these are Shirley stocks. Shirley is working on getting a new account. She's been banned twice. I think it's just from all the stuff she's written in here. So BP, yeah, just keep an eye out here. Right, big move up again. That red day there, it got rejected by the clouds. Just be careful with that. Boot, nice. Yes, good. Bullish until proven otherwise. Boot Barn, CHK. Similar to all these other, we got natural gas right here, kind of minor pivot. Nice close above this for potential swing. Then you got your gap up today. Watch out for the doji today. XOP. Yeah, big move today. So yeah, I would call this pretty bullish right here. That's your oil and gas, so that looks good. USO. Nice move today, nice gap up. Right, we looked at this earlier, Mike. This is a nice fib arc right here that it kind of gapped up to. Always amazing stuff. OAS. Another nice move as well. Big move down. This one is a little bit different, right? So this trend line is a little bit different. So I would wait for a close above today's high for more bullish activity. And then OIH. There. Okay, nice gap up here. Yeah, I kind of came into these minor pivots, so this looks pretty good too. So a lot of these oil ones are looking really, really strong. So we'll see if they get any follow through kind of going forward. So good stuff. All right, guys. Well, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Anybody new here, please make sure you subscribe on YouTube. We do this every market night, and we also post like other cool videos and stuff too. Check out the links in the description. And thank you, everybody, for your support. And enjoy the rest of your evening. And remember your risk first, and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And I'll talk to you guys soon.